As I prepared to work on this retrospective series, I was surprised to find out that 16% of my list were movies based on a true story or some historical event. If you add in the documentaries, which I'll talk about in a future episode, then the number jumps up to 20%. It's clear that Hollywood loves to make movies based on a true story. In this episode, we're going to look at what it means to be based on a true story, and I will highlight a few films from my list as a means to explore the forever fight known as history versus Hollywood. Roll the intro. So what does based on a true story or inspired by true events even mean? It means that what you are watching is still a work of fiction. At the very least, the seed of the idea came from true events, but what you are about to watch did not happen exactly as the movie portrays. As long as Hollywood has been producing these movies, they have figured out what we like. If you think about movies that you have seen based on a true story, they more than likely fit into one of my 7 categories. My first category is achievement. These are stories about a major accomplishment in a person's life. While you may learn a little bit about them to create context, it's really about the main character's big achievement. Some of the best movies in this category find a way to use the achievement to really delve into the main character's life. My next category is what I like to call amazing moment. Unlike achievement movies, where a character is overcoming an obstacle in pursuit of a seemingly unattainable goal, the Amazing Moment movie is a dramatic reinterpretation of events surrounding an incredible moment in history. Probably one of the most popular categories is my third, the biography or biopic. These films can take you through a person's entire life, or focus on a certain period of time that had significant meaning and made them who they are. Music and sports biopics have really become their own subgenre just by the sheer number of movies in this category. Most of them follow a very specific formula that once it's known, it's hard to forget. Category number 4 is conspiracy. While not the most popular of the based on a true story movies, they can be some of the most fun to watch. I will never forget watching Oliver Stone's JFK in high school and how it inspired me to learn more about what happened that day in Dallas. Category number 5 is crime. Plenty of options here. These are films that try to walk a storytelling tightrope. On the one hand, celebrating the life of a criminal, while also trying to condemn it by the end. Martin Scorsese has made a career in this genre. Category 6 is injustice. This is an important genre for me. These are films that tell the story of society's injustices against marginalized persons or groups of people, usually based on race, gender, or sexual orientation. If it's done right, it can be very powerful. But if it's done wrong, it can do more damage than good. My last category, and it probably should have been my first because it's one of Hollywood's most beloved genres, is war. This has been around for a long time and can sometimes be confused with films of pure fiction, such as Saving Private Ryan. While some of these movies can fit into some other categories, they really do stand on their own. So there's no better way to illustrate what it means to be based on a true story than to actually show you something. So today, I brought an example with me. I am proud and happy to introduce the world premiere of a movie inspired by true events, The 365 Story, and it's based on my attempt to watch a movie a day.
World premiere, exclusive.
Why doesn't he just go into the theater already?
Andres Deveria has to contemplate his whole entire life before he can watch this movie. Hey Puffy, since we're home, let's watch a movie together. I wonder what I'm gonna watch. I think I'll watch Empire Strikes Back. I'm so excited! Wait, what's happening? No! Oh man, it ate my tape. Wait, what's happening? What's happening? I can't see. I'm blind! Ah! What's happening? Why are we not watching Star Wars on the new DVD player?
Well, you gotta remember when he was a kid, he had that horrific VHS accident. It left him hysterically blind for 2 years, and he hasn't watched a movie outside of a movie theater since then. So I think we need to give him a minute.
Okay.
I'm ready. Man, did you know this story follows a hero's journey with a perfect 3-act structure? Did you know George Lucas has already written 6 movies and this is the 4th? Did you know that all of the space scenes are shot over paintings
One day he's
with
gonna
toys
watch
flying
a
over
whole
them?
bunch of movies.
I wonder if I can watch a movie a day. When I sing Here I Come, let's go! Happy New Year! I've decided I'm gonna watch 365 movies this year, and I'm gonna chart my adventure as I go.
Andres, you just finished your journey of watching 365 movies. How do you feel?
I'll tell you how I feel.
Alright, so while that short was entertaining and fun to make, it, like most movies based on a true story or inspired by real events, was full of inaccuracies and relies on storytelling tropes that we as an audience have become desensitized to over time. In the video essay, The Broken Formula of Music Biopics by Patrick Willems, he does an amazing job of breaking down the common tropes used in music biopics. After watching that video, if you rewatch my short, you might recognize a few of those tropes in use. But you know, that's okay if you realize what you're getting into. At the end of the day, these are still movies, and movies are meant to entertain. If a movie based on a true story does its job right, then you will hopefully be inspired to learn more about the person or event that the movie is about. I personally love going to historyversushollywood.com so I can see how close the filmmakers came to depicting reality and what changes they had to make to fit into the narrative structure. So now that we're on the same page with what it means to be based on a true story, I want to highlight 4 out of the 61 based on a true story movies that I watched in 2019. The 2018 film The Frontrunner by director Jason Reitman provided me with an eye-opening, I did not realize that happened moment. The movie centers around Gary Hart, whose presidential bid was derailed in 1987 by allegations of an extramarital affair, which feels extremely tame by the standards set during our 2016 US presidential election. Unfortunately for Gary Hart, he is no Donald Trump, and his campaign misfortune occurred during the infancy of the 24-hour news cycle. No one realized at the time the impact instant news and hyper-connectivity would have on society. So it's fascinating to see this moment through the lens of, this was the moment when it all started. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has led an amazing life and was an amazing person. I watched this movie after watching the documentary RBG and was impressed at how much the filmmakers got right. The thing they got right more than anything was the energy and emotion of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's a great example of the little details not mattering as much when you can capture the spirit and emotion of someone so accurately on film. In 2019, Chiwetel Ejiofor's directorial debut was a hopeful story based on a book by the same name. The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind tells the story of 13-year-old William Kunkwambe, whose family and village was suffering from drought and famine during the mid-2000s in Malawi. William's determination to not be controlled by his circumstances and his love for his family and village drives him to learn the necessary math and physics to invent an unconventional way to save his family and village from famine. While not all the details are accurate, the movie's dramatic interpretation of real events is inspirational and hopeful in a way that demonstrates why these kinds of movies are necessary, especially when they're created with care and respect, such as this film. As you can tell by that transition, I'm gonna cheat a little so I can compare and contrast 3 movies. 2018's Brian Banks by Tom Shattuck does a commendable job of portraying the events and the person at the center of the story accurately and with respect and reverence. It does a great job of shining the light on the inequalities of our justice system. Director Peter Farrelly's Green Book, on the other hand, creates a narrative that is loosely based on reality and misses the mark in a dangerous way that will empower the wrong people to feel like racism has been solved and that the current cries for social justice in this country are baseless. In between both of those films sits The Best of Enemies, directed by Robin Bissell. It's a movie that can help educate, but it can also lull certain viewers into thinking that this event resolved institutional racism in the educational system in Durham, North Carolina, when it actually tells the story of a spark that lit the fire for justice that is still burning today. We all love movies when they are about something or someone that we can relate to. I guess that's why the historical drama resonates so much with me and audiences around the world. But just remember, these movies, as good or bad as they can be, are just someone's interpretation of what actually happened. Just think about it as the most expensive and sophisticated game of telephone that we've ever played. Thank you for watching. Until next time, try and watch a movie a day, or at least one today.